I'm Bruce Klingner. I'm a research analyst at the Heritage Foundation. Before that, I served 20 years with the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency. I first looked at the Soviet Union, and then in 1993, during the first nuclear crisis, I've been focusing on North Korea. So I've been focusing on missile threats to the United States all my career. And I remember being in the audience 8 years ago when the film was first shown, and I was very confident. And now, I'm not so sure. It doesn't seem like we want to address this threat. We haven't not done anything on missile defense in the last 8 years. We deployed a missile defense in Central Europe, but it's not nearly as capable as originally planned, and it's not nearly enough to stay well ahead of the threat. When the Soviet Union collapsed, I never thought we'd see threats like we're seeing today. The threats have gotten bigger, they've gotten wider, and we have many more threats to the U.S. than we did before. 8 years ago, North Korea did not have the ability to hit the United States or its allies with a nuclear weapon. Today they can. They have the ability to threaten South Korea and Japan with a nuclear missile, and increasingly they're developing the capability to hit the entire continental United States with a nuclear weapon. Let's look at Iran. The Obama administration signed a nuclear agreement, and nobody in the region thinks Tehran is going to give up their nuclear weapons program. And since the deal was signed, they've only accelerated their ballistic missile test program. What's happened with Russia in the last 8 years? The Obama administration cut a nuclear deal with Russia, and all it did was allow Moscow to continue to expand and modernize their nuclear arsenal. What's really scary about China is they hide their nuclear weapons program very well. We really don't know how big their nuclear arsenal is, and we don't know how big it's going to be. Since we made the film, the threat has only gotten worse. North Korea, worse. Russia, worse. Iran, we don't know. And China, a big question mark.
If you look at every penny that has been placed in missile defense by the Congress since 1983. Now let's look at that in context. On September 11th of 2001, when the terrorists flew the aircraft into New York City towers, the damage cost to New York City alone, just the damage cost, was $83 billion. And that was not a weapon of mass destruction on a ballistic missile. That was not a nuclear warhead. If that were to occur, the damage from a nuclear warhead would run into the trillions, and of course with the incredible loss of life associated with that.
What's the cost of failure? Now, we have a $13 trillion economy. Some estimates say it would consume almost all of that to recover from a disaster of a nuclear weapon exploding over an American city.
So our ability to stop even one attack, just one missile, from impacting an American city would more than pay for this program many, many times over. This is a security investment in the United States. And it is an investment even better than insurance, because even insurance only pays you after the fact. In this case, we're preventing the event from occurring to start with. I believe that we are at a critical crossroads, because I do believe that as the proliferation of these weapons has occurred around the world, and the access becomes easier to either rogue nations as well as terrorist organizations, there's a high likelihood that we will be attacked in this century. And we have proven that we have the ability to stop and destroy these weapons. So not deploying and continuing to improve these systems, I believe, is morally bankrupt. So when all else fails, when all the negotiations have broken down, when all the arms control measures have not been effective, when there is a missile in the air, you have to have the ability to destroy it. Because the only other ability that you would have would be to apologize to those that die.
You know, one thing we got right in the film 8 years ago, it's not about the technology, it's not about the cost. It's having the resolve to defend ourselves. The real answer is comprehensive missile defense. So we need regional defenses for places like South Korea and Europe. We need to be able to defend the homeland. And ultimately, we need global space-based missile defense. And we're not close to that.
So what's the problem? I don't think people realize how much we've slowed down over the past 8 years. We've canceled more programs and capabilities than we've built. I don't think we should be surprised about this. What's happened to our missile defense reflects what's happened to our military over the past 8 years. At the Heritage Foundation, one of the projects we do is we objectively grade the state of our military. Today, our military is marginal. Our missile defense is marginal.
You know, we can't get the last 8 years back, but we can defend this country. But we have to get serious about it, and we have to start now.
You've seen the film. America's missile defense is in slow motion. The threat is in overdrive. If we want better, we must demand better. Those charged to protect us, we must demand better.